any way we can get the title of what we're talking about tonight up at the top? I don't mind that being up there or somewhere. I do want that somewhere, but I don't want that as like the title of tonight's show.
Yeah, it'll just take me a minute, but I can switch it.
Okay, thanks. All right. Come on and drop that knowledge, sis. I left a party for this. I'm loving this comment section already. All right, hopefully I don't disappoint you. This is a pop-up live, all right? I'm hardly organized as I like to be. I'm with you, says Fury's Visa. All right, we are running a few minutes behind. Yes, we certainly are. Sorry about that. I'm having one of those days where I'm in a time warp and I keep thinking I have 10 more minutes for something, and it's happened repeatedly all day long. Is this happening to anyone else? I wonder if some planets are shifting, going in or out of a retrograde, because that always happens to me with like a Mercury in retrograde. So just these weird time warps today. Anyways, I don't have any really good excuse for being late other than that I got lost somewhere along the way. We are going to give this a minute for a few people to tune in, and then we're going to go ahead and get into it. All right, so let's just make sure everything is up and running here. Everyone on TikTok, can I get a thumbs up from you guys there? Let me know that you can hear me and see me all right. Please start dropping those hearts. Share this video. I do appreciate it. Instagram, same thing. Okay, if I could get a thumbs up from you guys, if you could let me know that you can hear me and see me all right, that would be greatly appreciated. Instagram looks stuck or slow, which is just kind of the way Instagram tends to. Okay, there we go. We have some movement. All right. TikTok. And everyone on Facebook, welcome. Ivy Angela Rivera page, Ivy Rivera Psychic Medium, and here on YouTube at Ask Ivy. If you guys want to support me, the best way to do so is to switch to YouTube here at Ask Ivy. This platform, I want to say, while it does not grow at the fastest rate by any means, I do feel that it supports me the most. I get paid for what I do. You know, it's reliable in the way it's not always cutting me off. Like TikTok will be cutting me off typically in about 45 minutes. I could have hundreds of people in my live and TikTok will say, no one's here. Bye every single time. Okay, so I don't have that kind of like constant destruction going on my YouTube page, which I appreciate. Is it perfect? No. But if you want to support me, YouTube at Ask Ivy. Okay, great place to follow me. Otherwise, Jill, my beautiful producer, has stepped in here tonight. And that, even though I know she probably wanted to take the night off and get some rest and pull away from this topic, you know, I appreciate her being here. If we could all give her a hand, because she's going to be watching the comment section to make sure no one is getting abused and traumatized and that we don't have ignorance flaring up constantly. So I'm going to warn you guys now, okay? If you come here to be ignorant and show your ass, she's going to immediately block you. And I know I have a lot of Trump supporter clients who pop up like crabgrass all the time. For years, I've been telling you, no need to follow me anymore. I don't care to help you, but I know you continue to do so. And I know you'll be here tonight. You better watch your mouths in the comment section, because I am no longer just blocking you from social media. I'm creating a blacklist of people who misbehave. I will not be helping you, meaning you will never be able to get a reading with me or through Ivy's Healing Call Center again. I am watching, I am clocking it. Okay, so thank you, Jill, for being here. Jill is also going to be taking questions and comments from all platforms and popping them up. They'll probably be popping up. You could see them here on YouTube, but I'll be getting to all of them at the end. So if you see your comment or your question pop up, Jill is just sort of sharing what people are thinking while I talk. I'm kind of burnt out today, and so I'm probably not going to be able to get to those as we go. I don't want to keep interrupting my flow because, again, I really have like no notes or anything to go by today. But I will at the end, okay, get to all of your questions or comments. So don't think we overlooked you if that occurs. Jill will be taking your questions and comments from Instagram and from TikTok because we can't, like, we'll be transferring them over here, you know, to YouTube. Again, if they shut me down, TikTok always will. Thank you so much for the hearts, guys. If they shut me down on TikTok, you know, quickly get over here to listen to the rest. This will be published. So please do share this once it's published. It usually takes about 24 hours for it to go up on YouTube. And yeah, you guys share away. Okay. Couple related classes, sermons, shows that I've done that are relatable to tonight's topic are also listed up here at the top. And those are going to be, if you guys want to jot this down, I'll try to remember to mention this again at the end, but I don't know if my brain's going to work today. Okay, so you're going to want to, if you're tuned in here tonight, these are a few other ones you're going to want to watch. Go back through my playlist, YouTube at Ask Ivy, and look up Project 2025. That was a late night circus show that I did a couple months ago, where we broke down essentially what was like 990 pages that people didn't want to read. And I went through some of the key points that I felt were most connected to the astrology, the spirituality, the energy, the revolution, and where we're headed. Okay, so Project 2025, Late Night Circus. You can go and watch that. We also did women's rights, the 4B movement. Now, I did this, I don't even know, maybe a year ago. This was a while ago. This was and will be under Roots Revival Interfaith in the playlist, or you could probably just put it in my YouTube channel in the search bar, you know, and it'll come right up. But that was a church service for Roots Revival. Again, that was called Women's Rights, the 4B movement. Now, in that one, I broke down what the 4B movement is, where they were in Korea with it, how it was succeeding, what it means as it was growing here in America back then. I mean, not a ton of people were talking about it yet, so I tend to always be a bit ahead on these types of things. I was making a lot of reference to it, I want to say 3 and 4 years ago. There's another class you can go back here and watch. This is all free on YouTube, called End Times, Are We There?, where I spoke on things like the 4B movement coming in before it ever did. So, you know, that's going to break down if you're new to 4B. And tonight I'm going to be talking a little bit about 4B, 5B, 6B, and 7B, what it means, just briefly, okay? But that's where you want to go to get educated on that. Now, the last one I want to suggest, and then we're going to go ahead and start getting into this today, is a video that I did under Ask Ivy. Okay, so this is just like one of mine where I just talked about how I was personally led to get involved and how it affected me positively and the difficulties I had with it. This is titled 4B Movement, My First 2 Years, and What You Should Expect if you join. I am at this point, I think 3 years into 4B, something like that. So I think I did that like maybe 6 months ago or something like that. All right, so put those in the search bar. Again, that one was 4B Movement, My First 2 Years, and What to Expect. We do have a couple quick announcements while I let everybody tune in. So the first one is that we have a church service coming up, Roots Revival Interfaith. This is Sunday, the 17th at 9 p.m. Eastern on all these platforms. So I'll be covering apocalyptic times in your intuition. If my videos that I've been pumping out the last 6 years on apocalyptic dreams and these sort of visions of, you know, warlike scenarios and floods and fires and all this stuff, I've been encouraging you guys pretty hard for the last 6 years to pay more attention to those, because they're not necessarily just like paranoid dreams or nightmares. This is prophecy. And now we know it was because it's starting to happen. All right. So I want to revisit that instead of just all these short videos, you know, that I'm always putting out. I want to spend the time on it. Okay. So tune in for that. Again, that's going to be the 17th, Apocalyptic Times and Your Intuition. Okay. What else do we have going on, Jill? Okay, if you are gay, if you are trans, if you are in love, if you are an interracial couple, they're going after this first. And it's already started in Tennessee today. So, I mean, we're not going to be able, you know, you have a black girlfriend or whatever, you have a, you know, Hispanic boyfriend, or you're a white girl, like this may not happen for you guys. All right. Also, we could be seeing the, you know, revocation, of course, of the marriage certificates and things like this. I'm not going to get into a ton of that today. Okay. Because again, I talked about all that in Project 2025 video. Okay. So go back and watch that. But I just want to give some encouragement for people to step up and get married now. Now, I knew this was coming. And so about a year ago, I started a reverendship certification, and I now ordain people through Roots Revival Interfaith. We are a federally recognized religion and church established on our own. And we highly support LGBTQIA community. And of course, I am an interracial baby, you know, so we want to see you guys pairing up legally as much as possible. We want to increase your numbers. All right. So check us out if you are looking to have someone officiate your wedding ceremony. Also, if you want to become a reverend through Roots Revival Interfaith, I know a lot of people go online and they get the free one. But the thing is with that, it's not going to teach you how to perform the ceremonies, and it isn't legal for you to marry people in every state. Okay, those are limited. So this one is national, like I said, because we're federally recognized. So check it out if you want to become an ordained minister. You know, Roots Revival Interfaith. All this is up on my website, IvyRiveraPsychicMedium.com. Hope to see you guys. All right, are we good? Jill, is there anything else we had to talk about? Okay, one fun thing before we start getting heavy here. $2,500 value. You can enter the raffle to win a seat at my psychic mediumship course, which starts January 7th. We are evergreen, so you could join anytime. But the raffle is for the January 7th class specifically. So win a seat, okay, to the course. It's a 28-week course. Super fun. That's also up on the website. $5 gets you like one ticket. $20 gets you 5 tickets, something like that. Okay, let's go ahead and let's get into this. So welcome everyone. I'm Ivy Rivera. I'm a psychic medium, a Taino Arawak. And what is the title of this? This is a pop-up show. I'm usually more collected than this, but it's time. Okay, so the title of this show tonight is The Election, Karma, 4B, and Forward, or Forward Movement. All right, where do we go next? What are we doing next? So we are interactive here, and I encourage you guys to post your questions and your comments. Jill, my beautiful producer, will be taking them, whether you're on Instagram, you're on TikTok, you're on Facebook, you're on YouTube, and she'll be popping them up. If you don't hear me answer your question or respond to your comment, I'll be getting to all of them at the end of today's show. And there is a list up above of other classes, if you're here on YouTube at Ask Ivy, that you should go back and watch that are connected to today's class. That's Project 2025, Women's Rights, the 4B Movement, and 4B Movement, My First 2 Years, and what you can expect. So, you know, those of you who are having a difficult time, understandably so, I think that the first thing I want to address here is this sense of it not being over. If you were watching the night of the election and the intuition you had didn't match losing the election to a dictator, if your intuition was, yes, nervous, of course, but I'm not talking about the physical reactions, I'm talking about the intuitive reactions. If you had an inner sense of peace and like a strange calm and a sort of curious feeling that woke you up at 4 a.m., every intuitive woke up at 4 a.m. if you were able to go to bed. I wasn't. I never am on election night. But everybody woke up at 4 a.m. or slightly before that, and everyone checked their phone. So at 4 a.m., the haunting hour between 3 and 5:30 in the morning, right? Everyone was alerted to the fact that something weird had just occurred. It doesn't match the majority of astrology predictions that we would be in a dictatorship right now, that Kamala would have lost. It doesn't match anything we saw with the rallies, the numbers, the political scientists who made predictions. It doesn't match anything. Okay, so what you may be feeling right now is almost like we're waiting for the other shoe to fall, but you're very curiously watching that, not necessarily from a place of fear, but more from a place of fire. These are all things we want to pay attention to. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I do believe in patterns. That's how I got to this level with the work that I do. And that's how science does it. You know, we pay attention to patterns. Numbers don't lie, and the energy doesn't lie either. So what we're doing right now is we're kind of waiting to see what else is coming to the surface. I just want to address that. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on that tonight. This show tonight is not going to be focused on, you know, that aspect of whether or not the election was stolen and there's fraud and it's being uncovered, but also on what we've learned so far and where we're going forward, regardless, how we're moving forward, regardless of how this plays out. Okay. But on a last note with that, I think that we're seeing people waiting and researching to figure out things like why they showed up and they weren't allowed to vote, why they showed up and they were told they weren't registered, why they were registered for the wrong district, and however many times it went in the computer, it jumped. Why even Jill had a family member who went to vote, our producer, and she's a first-time voter. They're easy to attack, and she was told someone already voted with your name. We don't know if their vote, their fraudulent vote, was ever extracted. We just know that she was told they would let her vote, but it wouldn't be counted. I put up a video on how many problems. I'm 45. I've been voting a long time. I could not get to the voting booth. All these blocks and obstacles I've never had in my life. Legitimate stuff like my paperwork not being sent, like me being blocked, like them saying I wasn't registered, like I show up and no one was there, like all these weird things. Okay, so these are legitimate things. These aren't theories, these are facts. And we see a lot of people now researching to see whether or not, because normally we don't all follow up on whether our vote was accepted or not. We watch the machine, and if it dings and the number goes up, we leave. Okay, we got other shit to do. We hope for the best. Not this time. This time people are following up with their votes and they're finding out mass numbers. It never went through. There's a ton of other fraud. You can Google it, okay, that's being uncovered, but we have a long way to go. So there's that, okay? Hopefully that gives some of you hope because Trump made very clear that he had these like secrets in his pocket. And he kept saying like, take it over, Elon. Between Elon and Putin being involved in the election, I think there's a pretty good chance a whole bunch of shit went missing because, you know, it's hard to believe that he won every state with the Electoral College. Like it's something, the math is not mathing here. Astrologically, with, again, the political scientists and their, you know, theories that are usually accurate, with all of the attempts that we all made to vote, like where did our stuff go? So hold tight. Now, the other thing I want to say about that before we move on is that we also know for a fact there are a lot of other tricks up the sleeve that can be pulled right now, that would be better for us, whether, you know, we're talking about making Kamala the president now and Biden switching hands of power over to her, or we're talking about making women's rights permanent, right? Constitutional. We're talking about just a lot of other things like that. There are plenty of moves. You know, Biden can refuse because of the criminal activity, and because Trump has agreed that he will be breaking the Constitution, he could refuse to make him the president. Legally, I think he has to. I think he's obligated to do that, actually. So there are a million other things. Again, I don't want to spend too much time on that tonight because I don't want to lean on hypothetical stuff, okay? But don't despair, all right? Already, TikTok is threatening to shut me down. I'm not allowed to say anything ever, okay? TikTokers, switch over to YouTube at Ask Ivy. All right. So, what does this mean for us now? Well, we need to push, especially if you have questions about your vote. That's the next step. We need to, stay organized, and we need to be prepared also that as actions are taken by the current government against Trump coming in, that there will be a lot of outrage about that. Do I think it's necessarily going to be violent? Probably. I mean, they're always violent, right? So these aren't really like, oh my God, this is a no-brainer, right? If you take candy away from a child having a temper tantrum, you know what I'm saying? You're going to have some problems. So watch for things like this. But ultimately, this is, I believe, the beginning of what is the final battles in the revolution. And I've been talking about this since about 2015, more publicly and consistently. So the revolution is a switching of hands, switching of power from the patriarchy to the matriarchy. That's what we're in right now. That's what's been gradually increasing. Now, we did start to see some peaking with it in 2019, but the true handoff of the sort of death of a lot of capitalistic systems, the death of the patriarchy, the death of toxic masculinity having any real power anymore, colonization, right, being burnt down in its last and final stages, meaning white supremacy for the most part. All of this really starts November 19th of 2024. Now, if we look at this astrologically, okay, and we want the planets backing us, we want this to happen, even if you have a terrible foreboding and you feel really weird about things, okay, like what is about to happen, the other shoe's about to drop, we do want this. So a revolution is a long, dirty journey. There are many battles along the way, okay? Even what just happened the other day with the election is not the end of the war. It is simply a battle, and let's keep going. So what we're looking at on November 19th, maybe it's November 20th, I think it depends on where you live, okay? But we're looking at Pluto officially leaving Capricorn and moving into Aquarius. So if you guys want to learn more about all that, I did a series of, I believe it's 2 videos. That's also on my playlist, YouTube at Ask Ivy. So that was like a year and a half ago. So Pluto leaving Capricorn and moving officially into Aquarius. We are right now at the 29th degree. Okay, that's it. 30 degrees. We're in. We stay there. This hasn't happened in 250 years. What happened 250 years ago? The French Revolution, the American Revolution. What could that mean? Well, that's the burning down of an old system. It can mean whatever we use our free will to make it mean. Okay, so don't fall to the wayside. Don't get tired now. Don't allow yourself to slip now. Power is about to lean in our favor in the revolution in every way, shape, and form you can think of. Anything that's broken, bullshit, and toxic goes down, okay? So we have to take it home, bring it on home. Think of it like you just hit a home run, okay? Now, one of the other things really working in our favor with all of this is that Trumpy Dumpy has shown all his cards, right? He fell down hard and he's been cracked and lunatic the whole time. But like what we're really seeing right now is like between him and Elon losing his mind and like all the, like they're deteriorating, right? When we talk about the Hopi prophecy, now I have another show I did a few years back called End Times, Are We There? Okay, that's also in the playlist here at Ask Ivy on YouTube. But there I talk a lot about the Hopi prophecy. The Hopi prophecy, and we were entering at that time I did that video, which was I think about 5-6 years ago. We were entering into the last phase, the final stage, right? And the final Hopi prophecy is that those who have deliberately, repeatedly chosen the dark energy, toxicity, negative low-level energy, repeatedly, they go dark. They fall off. They go mentally ill. Okay. Now it's our job. And I was speaking of that years ago, but it seems like no one was really officially ready to do it until now, which I love. Our job is to push them on over the edge. And that's really what we're going to be talking about today. How to push those dark, what was once a soul, into the depths of despair and get rid of them once and for all. Okay, so that's the next phase in this battle. Now, the first way we want to do that, and that's why the first part of this show is called karma. We don't want to prevent their karma from being delivered to them. When you are an overgiver, and I love you guys, okay, but you got to stop. When you are a natural healer or you're a wounded healer, you tend to overreach, you tend to overgive. And also, ladies, we have been programmed from birth to do this without question. We overgive. We give too much labor. Too much labor is expected of us. It's constant overgiving, right? And we get nothing back in return. Well, that's what's killing us. Literally, physically, mentally, emotionally, financially. Okay, so we need to get the upper hand. So what we're doing right now, what we're supposed to be doing right now, the next step in karmic delivery, is to allow the karma to hit these groups of people that the Hopi prophecy mentioned. These people who the Hopi prophecy says refuse the light. They refuse to be connected to spirit and their own spirits. They choose the dark repeatedly. I like to just say, you made your bed, now go lie in it. Your karma is your own. And karma is sticky. It's like gum on the bottom of your shoe. So when you choose to have Thanksgiving dinner with these people, to give them a ride to work, to step in and loan them a little money, to be a shoulder to cry on, to sleep with them one more time, when you do this, you get negative karmic kickback from that sticky gum on the bottom of your shoe. Do you understand what I'm saying? Okay. And I would love to hear in the comment section, who has ever overreached or given when you shouldn't have, and that blew up in your face? And you started to realize all of your prosperity was drying up or taking a nosedive. You had all kinds of other problems in your life. That's because you're toying with it. You're playing with fire. Okay. Those who have negative karma, you aren't supposed to be dealing with them. So I'm very pleased that now what I see for the first time, and I was hoping it happened 5-6 years ago when I started preaching on this, but whatever, things take time. You know, what we're starting to see is that people are recognizing that if their loved ones, supposed loved ones, whether it be their toxic husbands or it be their family members who don't support them, or it be friends they thought were friends, your neighbors even, you know, when you see that they voted for Trump, they voted for your rights to be taken away. You're maybe a person of color, you're a woman, you're LGBTQ, whatever it is, okay? You realize officially they hate you. Now, you know, I've been saying this all along, but that's a hard pill to swallow. When you see it in action, it becomes a very different thing for you. And that's where we are right now. And we all need to push them over the edge of that cliff by cutting them off. Okay. So you no longer deal with these people. This is go get that divorce. This is move out or kick them out. This is, I'm not coming to Thanksgiving. Isn't that the next holiday we have coming up? This is take that Christmas tree and shove it up your hole. This is, okay, I am not doing elf duty this year. I'm not giving gifts. I'm not sending cards out to you. I'm blocking you from social media, or I'm unfriending you. This is, I'm no longer taking your phone calls. And when they congregate and they try to pull you back down, suck you back in so that they can take your time, attention, energy, love, affection, resources, you give them the middle finger and you keep on walking. Okay. Now, what do? Well, there's going to be loneliness involved with that. However, what you're going to do is build up a new community. Who here in the comment section is going through something like this and is looking for new family, is looking for new friends, is looking for new followers, will follow you back on your social media? We start building the real community of people. We were supposed to be dealing with this entire time anyways. Blood is not thicker than water. Okay. You are not obligated, even with the government contract. You better get out of that marriage now before you lose that opportunity, because they are about to take it away, ladies. Okay. You will no longer have amicable divorce in a minute here. All right. That's going to be the first thing they go for. And they already have in a lot of states. You get out. Okay. That is not a real contract. If your marriage is based on a religion, a culty type mentality that is all about the patriarchy, run for the hills, okay? You're not going to end up in hell, and you're not sinning by leaving. Cut people off. Even if it means for a period of time, you're going to need to spend some time alone or meeting new people or stretching outside your comfort zone. I just put up a class a couple months ago, not even, maybe a couple weeks ago. God, I'm in a warp, but it was called like How to Make Friends. Okay. So go back and watch that. YouTube at Ask Ivy, put it in the search bar, How to Make Friends. Okay. It's time. All right. There's a reason Spirit told me to put that out when I did. Now here's really the next thing going on with this. I want to talk about other areas where we may need to cut off systems. And I want to talk about 4B, 5B, 6B, 7B. I'm just briefly going to touch on all of those, but sort of under that 4B umbrella. 4B, okay, is not only about cutting men off and gay men cutting off toxic other gay men or closeted men or down low men who broke Grindr when the Republican convention was in town. They literally shut Grindr down. Okay. And I've been dating since I was like 9, I assure you. A lot of these closeted men who hate women's guts, right? They're hooking up with men every single opportunity they get. Okay. This is strap on, guy. This is like, look a little deeper. Okay. So all of these toxic men are under the original sort of concepts and the rules of 4B and how we do it, how we implement it. And now what we're needing to talk about more is also like the companies, the businesses, the capitalistic aspect of all of this. You know, where do you give your money? Where are you purchasing things? Where are you showing up? What businesses are you supporting? And this includes, and I'm just going to get this one out of the way because this breaks my heart. It makes me kind of want to puke to even talk about it, but I'm going to go there. A lot of the votes that didn't go to Kamala were, maybe not a lot, okay, but a significant enough portion were from those that are supporting Palestine and want to end the genocide, right? Which I'm all about, and I'm sure most of you are all about, right? No Zionists need to be in my comment section here. See ya. But they chose to make a very bold statement, which I understand. They took votes away and they organized and they made sure that anyone who was on the fence didn't vote for Kamala because the Democratic Party, Biden, right, they support Israel. Now, I too struggled with this. I too was in debate as to whether or not I would be voting at this point. However, when you do the math, you have to, I believe, move incrementally like a game of chess in smart decisions and moves, right? It's knowing how to not only come at things offensively, but also defensively. And with all the support that we on the left were giving these people organizing for Palestine, I mean, I haven't had Starbucks. When was the last time you had a Starbucks? When was the last time my cats gave up their Friskies treats? Okay. I haven't had the chocolate I like. I haven't had my Clinique cream just ran out. Okay. I was addicted to that shit for like 3 years. I haven't had a latte. Okay. I haven't had a latte in like a year. Like I'm, you know, we band together and we sacrificed a lot. And then when it was time for them to make a move for us, they were like this. And they're out there every day now, right? Saying, you see what you get when you support, like, haha, you know, we didn't vote for her. The thing is, I can't tell you guys what to do, and I'm not sure 100% what I'm going to do about it. Because I don't want to go back to supporting companies like Starbucks, knowing they're giving that money to Israel. You know what I mean? This is bigger than these people who organized poorly, in my opinion. The thing is, when us women aren't protected, when we minorities aren't protected, when our rights are not protected, We have to let karma fall where it's going to fall. And however you choose to do that is up to you. But this is going to be one of those areas that we need to look at. Okay. So again, we're talking about political movements that you're aligned with. We're talking about, let's get into the business aspect of this. We look at a lot of businesses that have open doors only because they're doing well and succeeding, only because women go there. They cater to women. Don't go there anymore. If it's not woman owned, okay, and this is where 5B, is it 5B? No, I think it's 7B comes in. Okay, I haven't had time to study all of them, but they're all kind of a variation of 4B. So when we talk about 7B, for example, we're talking about you no longer going to businesses that are male owned and are up and running, doing well because women go there. Cut off companies that did not support your rights in this election. You're not wearing that makeup anymore. We need to do a deeper dive on all companies, okay, all businesses. And let's go back to 4B. Here's the big one. This is the one that's going to make the most, in my opinion, going to create the best results, the fastest results, the most dynamic results. And that is 4B. What is 4B? South Korea, North Korea, which Korea? Okay, again, you can go back and watch my videos on 4B. I'm not going to get into all of it. But what these women did, they were done being treated like baby making machines who had no rights, no financial support by the government. They weren't protected from the abuse of males, in any way. They stopped ballpark 5 years ago. What are the 4Bs? They stopped dating men. They stopped sleeping with men. They stopped getting married to men, and they stopped having babies. Now, it took about 3 years for the effects to officially hit. And that happened for a couple different reasons. One was that other women got involved in 4B, not just women who were like dating, because it's all women of all ages, right? Not just women of childbearing age, but all women got involved at about that 3rd year mark, because once the men were shunned for being abusive and toxic, they went running to mommy. They went running to mommy by the 2nd year in. That means they were living in the basement. They were sleeping on the couch. They were begging for the support of grandma, aunties, sisters, friends who were female, okay, and mom. But in the 3rd year, we saw an increase with matricide. So we see these women getting killed by these men. We see the abuse that they were spewing out onto the women they were married to or dating or whatever, now going to these female friends and family members. And those women cut them off. Those women kicked them out. Their asses hit the street hard. Also, this year, they had no 1st graders. They had no, I think even 3rd graders or something. There are no more babies. There are no more kids. This doesn't take a long time, first of all. And it's already been happening here in America, okay? So we're talking like a 5-year span, how successful this was in Korea. Now, Americans have been doing this. How many women in the comment section started 4B, if not just before, because you kind of knew it was coming, you could feel it, it was making you sick to deal with these men anymore, but if not 3 years ago, 2 years ago, the second Roe v. Wade was overturned. That was the end for me. Roe v. Wade got overturned, and you can't deal with them anymore. They had no reaction. They were happy about it, or, they won't tell you how they lean politically. I would ask if, I was talking to men because at the time I was like on the dating apps, I would be like, early on in the conversation before we ever met up, I would say something about, where do they stand with LGBTQ rights and women's rights? And they would get real weird about it. What? You're bringing up politics so early? I thought we were friends. I said, you haven't earned friend status with me yet. I'm asking you a question. Where do you stand? And I would get a lot of responses like, I'm all for women's rights as long as they're not hurting anyone. I was like, click. Okay, done. So it was rapidly increasing. I was out of there. Okay. Again, I talk about this in my 4B, my first 2 years videos. You can go back and watch. But ultimately, what we need to do now, is we need to decide once and for all that we are done interacting with these men. So it isn't just the fours. It isn't just sex, no pregnancy, no marriage, no dating. It needs to go beyond this. Don't forget, this is a political movement. It's personal for sure. Okay. But this is a political movement that works. Look at Korea. We have 5 years to study here. Okay. This is exactly how it's going to go down. Also, watch how matricide has been increasing. This is another way I know more women are already in 4B the last couple of years, because matricide, okay, is rapidly increasing. Where do these losers go? To mom's basement. Okay. So this is, we're on the right track, but now it's the rest of us girls. It's the rest of us women. Okay. We need to cut them off. Also, I think that what we're not paying attention to, and I believe they're calling this 5B now, is we need to cut off the women who support them. I talked about this in my 4B, my experience, 2 years. That was one of the things I talked about that hurt me. I struggled with that because when you grow up a female, especially here in America, with the Disney princess mentality, you're waiting on that white knight, you're programmed to be submissive in a cult of patriarchy, you know, you want to be chosen, whatever, right? I don't have a lot of those problems, but all my girlfriends did. And it is something I've put up with my whole life because I think when you're too deep in it, you almost think it's normal. But when you start to join something like 4B and you're no longer centering men, okay, you are deconstructing from the patriarchy hardcore. You are part of a powerful political international movement. You are decentering them. You realize these chicks are going right down with them because these women are like obsessed with them, or everything they do in their life is for a man, or they think about all the moves they're going to make in their life are based on whether or not it would affect their ability to get a man. They tolerate shit from men. You know, they ruin your day because they've got something going on that's ridiculous with this clown over here, or they want to bring the clown along to dinner and he ruins everything socially. And like, we have no business all dealing with each other. This is another great example of the divide and how it's good. Okay. So this is letting the karma land. Do not stop it from happening. 5B is getting rid of those women in your life. If they chose to support Trump, if they are in a toxic marriage with a man who supports Trump, if they are not really decentering men or deconstructing from the patriarchy every day of their life, but they still lean left, they're still progressive, they're still democratic, they still talk a lot about their rights or think about their rights, but they don't walk the walk. They've got to go. Okay, we have to cut them off. We have to be more disciplined. And again, this leads us into like, well, how do I replace them? Don't worry, you will. Okay, you will. Because we are all out here right now getting ready to detox, to cord cut, to leave all those toxic relationships behind. And we're not only going to see personally our prosperity skyrocket in any way, in every way, wealth, health, okay, relationships, an increase in love, happiness, joy, abundance. In every way, it's going to increase because that is the law of the universe. When you are feeding anything toxic, let's review, when you're feeding anything low level, it is like gum on the bottom of your shoe and you get negative karmic kickback. Poof, you're releasing it. Up you go. When you go up, you meet members of your soul tribe. You have ease and flow. You're in alignment with your life contract and universal law and order. Manifestation kicks in. You will rebuild with new people. Okay. And that shouldn't really be the focus right now as much as cleaning things up for a while. So don't prevent the karma from hitting these women. That's a tough one. That's going to hit your mothers. That's going to hit your closest girlfriends who are boy obsessed, even though they're 55. I'm so sick of these, whatever. Okay. So it's a disappointment, but these women don't want to grow and you got to go. It's not your problem, right? So let's talk about 6B. Hope I'm doing that right. If anyone knows more on like all the Bs, okay, whether I'm putting them in the right category or not, I think I am. Let's talk about 6B. Anyways, it's all sort of a variation of 4B, okay? But 6B is focused more on cutting men off on a more social scale. So instead of just talking about like no pregnancy, no marriage, no dating, no sex, we're talking about your toxic male friends. Your male friends who just use you for labor. Every time he gets a girlfriend, he disappears. I thought he was my bestie. Where did he go? He got a girlfriend. He was just using you in the meantime. If every couple years these guys are bringing up wanting to sleep with you or being attracted to you, or every couple years, oh, I got up that I'm bold enough right now, I'm brave enough right now to tell you how I feel about you, dump him. Dump him. That is not your friend. Your male friends who never give good advice, they're never really a great listening ear. They couldn't tell you where you are in your life right now. They couldn't tell you what you're all about. Any male in your life, including family members, brothers, uncles, cousins, dads, any male in your life who, if you were to say, why do you love me? They were to say, because you give me things, because you do things for me, because of the labor you bring to my life. They don't know who you are. They don't care who you are, and they won't be there for you. They never have been. So it's taking off the rose-colored glasses. It's removing the veil. It's seeing them for what they've always been. And instead of you keeping this relationship afloat because you've just always been overreaching and overgiving because you're so good at it, you don't even realize you're doing it. You've been programmed from birth to do it. You're done with that. Okay. So it's taking a closer look, a deeper inspection upon every single interaction. And if the math is not mathing, bye. Okay, that's it. They have to go get it from somewhere else. That may also be hard. Here's another way we need to be doing it. Here are some examples of how I do it. You're not dealing with men on a larger scale in general. Now, because men started approaching me when I was 9 years old on the streets, whether it's like telling me to smile, this is something I started to see more in my teens and my 20s. Which is violent because that's based on when women were locked up in the mental institutions and they received electric shock therapy and lobotomies, and they had to wear that weird like smile thing on their face. And they were retrained to smile more, right? So it is an act of violence to go up to a woman, make no mistake, and say, you need to smile, right? So when they started approaching me sexually or the cat calls and things like this, I pretended they didn't exist anymore because that's gross. They made me want to puke, okay? It's amazing I'm even attracted. I mean, this is how I know I'm straight, okay? The fact that I'm even attracted to them at all is a miracle. That's science, baby, okay? But like at 9 years old, I remember thinking, I'm done. They're gross. They seem like criminal, right? And am I the only one feeling this? That this is like really, really wrong? One of the things I started to do, and if you don't do this, this is something you need to bring into your life. You do not see them. So whenever you're in a space, like you're doing your workout out on the streets, you're in a restaurant, right? You're in the subway, you're at a club, like you don't see them. They do not exist. And I will tell you that since I've been practicing this, since I was a little kid, it upsets them so much that it's a hysterical reaction, literally. And I mean, not funny, but like they're hysterical about it, right? They will come up to you, walk out of their way, get up in your face, knowing that you energetically, before they have even approached you, before you have even crossed paths, you energetically are so unavailable to them. You do not exist to me. You are invisible to me. Nothing could ruffle their feathers more than a woman treating them like what they deserve, right? That they are decentered. They are not the center of attention. They have not earned that type of attention, and you're not going to give it to them at all. So you should expect that as you do more of this type of thing, you're going to see these sort of outbursts from them. So have a game plan. You know, how are you going to react when they do that? Again, I talk about that a bit in my 4B class. So you can go back and watch those things. The other thing is taking that behavior that you have out on the streets where men are not even in existence to your awareness, okay? And applying that to online, social media, and other interactions. What I have been disappointed by in the last couple years is watching women interact with men constantly in their videos. I love TikTok, okay, but like, my God, read the room, okay? Enough is enough. You know, when you're arguing with a toxic man about why toxicity is bad and how you're abused by the patriarchy, you're abusing yourself and you're showing other women that this is the way to do it. You're doing nothing, okay? You're feeding the problem. That's gum on the bottom of your shoe. That is a negative karmic kickback on its way to you. You're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to cut off and never feed whatever toxic energy in the universe is demanding your energy and attention and to be fed. What you feed, you get more of. What you cut off will starve and die. And it will typically go somewhere else. What we're doing is we're not giving them anywhere else to go, but down. You're pushing them off the cliff. Every woman needs to stand up and do this. Now, what that means is that if you put out a video and you know it's going to be men who bum rush this thing and are like, you know, they're keyboard warriors swinging their, you know what's, trying to get attention because they're so desperate for attention with this male loneliness epidemic that they caused. You're going to turn off your comment section. Never even give them the opportunity to get high off that typing, right? Or he types it and he goes to send it and he's like, yeah, let's go. I'm going to eat today. You know what I mean? Like, feed me all your negative attention, girls. And like, it doesn't post. He doesn't know what to do. Okay. Make him cry. Okay. You know, will this eventually lead to your woman friends and family and your male family and, you know, toxic male friends and these businesses, you know, these men who are starving for any kind of attention from us? Will it lead them into a place of reflection? We don't care anymore. We are way beyond that. Okay. This is where we have to cut off personally and set boundaries with yourself and get some control over the way you think, your emotions, and what you pay attention to in your own brain. You have to stop, okay? So when you find yourself reeling over it, you need to be more mindful on a daily basis, catch your thoughts, stop that thought in its process, and say, no, this is me giving energy to it with my thoughts, with my feelings. And you replace it with forward thinking. Where are you going in the future? Okay. Why did you do this? What's the bigger purpose? Something more positive. So you're going to have to do the work on yourself as well. These things are hard. Let's talk about forward movement. We still have to examine what went wrong in this election. Okay. And we can't just say that things were stolen, even though I think we're looking at that, you know, and if these policies do go into place and kind of save our asses in a lot of ways, we don't want to forget about this part of the work. Okay. We need to look right now at what we know factually, what we think is factually. And that is, again, the majority of men voted against women's rights, proving how much they hate women. That white supremacy ruled this election. None of this is a shock. It did last a time. It will. That's how it is. Okay. And so the racism is rampant. We need to address, though, also where we failed as, like, I guess you could say, like a Democratic Party or, you know, the left. We see that a lot of people, rightfully so, they looked at what Biden did the last 4 years and previous to that with like AIPAC, right, which has been like 8 years, I think, around, where they get money from Israel. It's politicians just getting paid by the Zionists. Okay, well, they conducted genocide. We have to look at the fact that they swallowed that blood money down. And when Americans said, I don't want my tax dollars going to a genocide, I don't want to be supporting the military in this. I want you to change the way you handle this situation and the policies with Israel. I want you to stand up. And Biden didn't. He just gave them more money and more money and more money while we aren't eating here, while we see inflation, even though it's improved, right, without bounds, when we can't buy a home, when homelessness is the only alternative for so many people, and it becomes illegal and they're locking us up and using us for slave labor. When we see all these abuses going on with us every day that is spreading to the rest of the world, as it always has, but people are waking up to it for the first time. We realize we are nothing but a military machine, a warmongering system that we are all tools for. We're cogs in the wheel, okay? And we're done with it when we say we're done. And Kamala doesn't say anything about that, not very much. And Biden doesn't fix it at any point. And we know they're all bought on both sides, Democratic or Republican. We know everyone is bought because the politicians in America are bought. You lose hope in the system. And a lot of people, are done with that. They voted against so many things that they would have liked to vote for, their own rights, it's amazing. It's amazing. But they did. And so this is a time where we need to look at how that system is broken. Look at the people. I mean, there weren't a ton, but look at all the people who voted like third party, for example, Jill Stein. And, my first election, I did that. My first election, I was like, green, 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 green. But I didn't fully, I was like 18. Now I know, okay, how to better get things done. And we have to examine, though, that this is where the revolution lies and what that's going to mean. So the revolution is not just about women having their rights protected or the LGBTQIA community having their rights protected, right? Or Kamala getting elected. No. Karma is a bitch, okay? And she's my favorite bitch, literally. I mean, she will show up. She will take her sweet ass time, but she will always show up. And the Democratic Party, this is part of it. So what happens? And there are a million other things they need to clean up. They need to do better on social media. They need to do better with their outlets. We've got all these right-wing outlets gathering these young toxic males, right? Creating new, like, little militia for their fascism. But we've had that, right? The Democratic Party doesn't really evolve in the way that it needs to. So there are a million other things that we need to look at with that. I personally am not sure by TikTok. I personally am not sure that America can pull it off or will ever pull it off. And that's sort of the last thing I want to say tonight, is that I have been telling you guys since about 2016 that you need to get a second citizenship. And at first everyone laughed or thought I was joking. And like, you need a second citizenship, okay? This is Indian burial ground. This is stolen land. This is karmic debt that I don't know ever will be paid, okay? As long as the world exists, and that's a ticking time bomb, right? Like, I don't know. And I think that your best course of action is to stay here and fight for what's right to the best of your ability for as long as you can. But I also think there are ways to do that while creating better security for yourself elsewhere. And Bernie Sanders said it best when talking about the failure of this Democratic Party in this election, right? Yesterday, I think it was. He had some great quotes. I don't remember exactly, but he basically said, you thought you were going to, referring to Kamala, you thought you were going to give the people no medical coverage, nowhere to live. Their basic rights were never solidified, right, in the Constitution. You made all of these horrible choices, and you thought they were still going to support you and go in that direction. We need to look at how the rest of the world lives. We need to understand how abused we are to get taxed and then taxed again and then taxed when you buy something. We need to understand how that doesn't happen anywhere else in the world. We need to understand that in other places, like you don't pay to have a baby at all, or they pay you now. Korea. You have childcare because you have to work to support that baby. Those kids get free lunch if they need it. You're not treated like a criminal from the day you're born, right? Or just a part of the machine. You're not beaten to death, working yourself to the grave. Your food is not poisoned so that big pharma can make money off of you. And the medical system, the for-profit medical system, can make money off of your disease, your torture, your death. America is sick AF. It's gross. And quite frankly, since I was a kid, I have always felt like this is not my home, and the first opportunity I get, I need to get the hell out of here. I also have a sense, and I think, let me know in the comment section if you do as well, that you've also stayed because you've had weird visions, maybe from childhood, that you are here to fight for this country. Like defend this space and be part of creating something bigger. I have both. And I think I'm at the point in my life, and I hope you are too, where we're ready to honor both. Wouldn't it be nice to go somewhere else and live, breathe clean air, eat real food, be treated like a human being, have a life, okay? Get into art, napping, I don't know. I don't know if I could handle the slow pace, honestly, but it is what it is. So that's where we need to be. This is where we need to go. As far as going forward, any other things I really wanted to mention with that? I really think that you need to protect yourself. I really think that you need to pay attention to the smaller elections and other, policies that you don't normally pay any attention to. Get involved in activism. At the very least, we have November 3rd of 2026 are the midterms for the Congress. Okay, we need to get some new judges in there. If you know of anyone who, is involved in politics heavily, even if you're like, I really can't do that. I really can't be involved all the time with the news and this and that. Okay, I get it. Especially if you're like a lot of my neurospicy friends and stuff, you feel overwhelmed. It takes a toll on you. Fine. Keep in touch with that friend who's always doing the work. Okay. I will always be here. My degree is in journalism. I will always be here like a hawk, like a vulture on top of every piece of news that comes out. I will inform you as much as I can on what's going on, but you need to stay in touch at the very least with the people who have the ins and to see when you can get involved in action that needs to be taken, okay, beyond what you have in the past. But those midterms, November 3rd, okay, are going to be absolutely huge. Let me see if there's anything else I wanted to mention, and then I'm going to get into questions and comments. Okay, so we're going to start popping those up now. TikTok, I see I lost. They shut me down. I'm not surprised. Anyone here from TikTok? Did you switch over? I hope so. Things that you can also feel good about. I want you to pay attention to the fact that this is not your lesson to learn. I said to Jill yesterday, do you feel like you're being punished or like something really bad is about to happen or that everybody hates you or that you're under attack or that you should, what I mean? Like almost hide. Like, do you feel like this weird, like you're taking a beating, but it's from other places. It's not just about the election. It's like energetic, like the universe is about to swallow you. She said, yeah, I do too. But I think a lot of that comes from previous programming. It's a feeling of like shame or guilt. It can come from abuse or neglect from when you were a kid. It comes from societal abuse and neglect. So I think every woman is probably feeling this to some degree. maybe our people of color are having this more, LGBTQ, you're having this more, right? So like I'm Latina, so I wonder if that played a part in it. I don't know where the root of it is coming from exactly, but this feeling of being crippled and a full-blown anxiety attack to the point I could see my heart pounding and I could not breathe repeatedly yesterday. I am like, oh my God, what is happening? I think we have to stop and we have to say, this is not my lesson to learn. I am okay. I am not part of all of this in the way that it seems. I am a spirit. I am a soul from the universe, from something higher, from something better. And the only thing I need to do is keep my karma clean. And I have done that. I did good. I did well. I'm okay. I'm good. I'm safe. And karma will always pay me out for that. Okay. So you need to know you're more protected because right now you're probably not feeling it at all. You did good. You did good. These are not your lessons to learn. These are their lessons to learn. Okay. They should be worried. Also, a couple other things I forgot to mention as far as like hope is concerned. A couple of the astrological transits and why people keep saying it's way too quiet. He's way too quiet. Trump is way too quiet, right? The right wingers are way too quiet. Elon's way too quiet. Why did everyone get so quiet, right? The way, just even the way Kamala shut down, it was like, why did everyone get so quiet? And all the astrologers and all the political theorists and everyone was like, everyone's just kind of like searching for something or waiting on something. Like everyone's just quietly processing something. Here's another reason you may be feeling like this is not done yet, or his presidency isn't going to happen at all. We have a few planetary transits going on that are greatly affecting this. So we have Libra in the South Node. We have a Mars retrograde coming up that is like going to ruin Trump in a million ways. Okay. We have Jupiter retrograde in Gemini. We have Pluto in Aquarius. Like I said earlier, and I have a couple extended videos on that here if you want to learn more about that from like a year ago. November 19th, moving into, okay, officially Aquarius. We have Saturn going direct. That's November 11th. We have Neptune retrograde in Pisces, which goes direct in December. Basically, what a lot of this means is that, right now we can't estimate the way things look right now. They're not going to look that way in a minute. Also, it's about a lot of this is taking off your glasses of illusion, which is everything I'm talking about right here. If I were to say that all of this breaks down really to one major battle and lesson, it is about loyalty. We need to be looking at who's loyal to us. We need to cut off who isn't. We need to redefine where our loyalty lies, like not the Democratic Party necessarily, but reform itself, right? We need to focus more on what that means to pour your time, attention, affection, and energy into something, and how when you're pouring it in the wrong place, whether you really meant to or not, it's negative karma kickback onto you. So loyalty needs to be looked at here. Right down to Starbucks. Are we all going back to Starbucks? Right? Because of what the organizers for Palestine did? I don't know. This is, I feel like, the great test on loyalty. That's this part of the battle. And when you look at, all the great wars and how many people were betrayed from the inside, right? This is really no different. I also think this isn't a time for optimism. I'm not appreciating when I see people posting like, it won't be that bad, or, it's never as bad as it seems. I'm like, oh yeah, it could be worse. It could be a million times worse. Are you joking? I don't know if these people have never been through anything in life, but as bad as you think it can get 100 times worse. I assure you, this is not a time for optimism. Okay. This is a time for realism. This is a time for action. Okay. Don't sleep on any of this. Is there anything else I wanted to say? I don't think so. Oh yeah, there is one more thing. The new thing is attacks, okay, on women, with men saying, your body, my choice. And I want to tell you, you need to get a gun. You need to get a knife. I got 6 machetes in my house. I pity the fool. My grandfather said, you never go to bed without a machete under your pillow. And one night he took a nap, okay, out on the couch instead of in his bed. And there was no machete under the pillow on the couch. And robbers came in and stole his TV. Okay. So you need machetes. You need martial arts class. You need to have a game plan about how you're going to respond when some douchebag comes up to you on the street and says, your body, my choice. First of all, you have the right to defend yourself physically. Also, that is immediate sexual harassment. Go to the cops, file, okay? If this happens to your daughter at school, get her trained to immediately go to the principal. You don't ask permission. She gets up and she goes to the principal. You go to the cops. We're not putting up with it. If they're going to talk to us this way, they're going down. Somebody talks to me that way, he's going down physically. Okay? I'll go to jail for it for the night if I have to. There are going to be multiple lessons in all of this. No one is going to be talking to you like that. Make that decision and figure out how you're going to deal with it, because right now it's happening on the streets, it's happening in chants and rallies, it's happening all over social media. We also see racial attacks going on today, yesterday. It's pretty bad. We see a lot of LGBTQIA attacks, right? It's running rampant. It's out of control. And everybody, not just women, need to have a plan about how to protect yourself. Okay, hey, we have no gun laws. We have no protection on gun laws in this country. Get yourself a gun. Keep it in your purse. Have that thing ready. Someone looks at you wrong. Someone says something to you. You have a right to defend yourself, and I suggest you do before it is too late. And they can learn later, you know. I think that's it. Oh, one more thing. Oh, this one. Okay, ladies going into 4B. This is something I didn't have. I wanted to add this tonight because I didn't have this in my previous classes on 4B here. I don't think, okay? So maybe a little bit I touched on it, like when men are lying and pretending that they are liberals, they're pretending that they're progressives, they're pretending that they're for women's rights, and you're out there dating. I already told you, you need to join 4B and so not be dating any of them, okay? However, I understand we want to be open to the possibility of some decent men existing. Okay, let's break that down. Here are the ways that they lie, and they tell you that they are a liberal when they are actually Trumpers and they're voting against you and they're trying to destroy your life. And keep this in mind first and foremost, that they love liberal women, okay? When I was on the dating apps, I had in my bio or profile or whatever, some reference to only open-minded people who are looking at like progress and love others and are upright, you know, AKA the liberals need to swipe, what was it, right? I guess, right? Whatever. And my God, the right-wingers, and still now I have stalkers, they're all right-wingers, right? These conservative fascists men want to be with a liberal girl so bad, because they can't naturally get her, because she cannot be caged, and because she's not boring like all these brainwashed chicks on the right, okay? So like girls who vote Trump tend to have no personality, right? They can't think for themselves, obviously. They don't love themselves. Well, men aren't attracted to that. No one's attracted to that. No one's attracted to someone who has no personality, no ethical code of conduct, you know, has no sort of fire, okay, no spice in their life. No one wants that. Bad on paper, bad in bed, okay? Bad on the street, bad in bed. So there's that too. So they know this, and they'll realize that they can't get you by being honest. So they lie about the way they lean. And then they try to basically destroy your life, because they also get high off of taming, putting the light out, breaking down a strong, independent, brilliant woman on the left. They love that. It's a game. It's a game to them. So first of all, when you're looking at the dating apps, if it says, because a lot of them have caught on to that, and so they don't have like conservative or big American flags or like, Trump's orange face on there. Like, they've learned over the years to get rid of that shit. And you would see things like they're saying they're moderate. Nope. I would also watch for even like a lot of boats. Okay, I know that sounds stupid. You have to look a little deeper into that one. I'd love a boat, okay? But like boats, you want to watch to see where they came from. If it says anything about their hometown, ask them questions about their hometown. Do they come from a red spot? Is their whole family red? Is it possible they're lying to you about things like that? Just dig a little deeper. Go through every single picture with a magnifying glass and see if you can spot a flag or that stupid melting skull, that destroyer skull. You cut off his sleeves, got the stupid American flag destroyer skull melting up. No, none of that. Okay. Look at the brands that are represented in any of his, photographs and stuff. Look at what his friends are wearing in those photographs. Look if they have any stupid gear on. Okay. These people aren't really that hard to spot. Just even their body language really says it all. And trust your intuition. Read the energy of what the photographs are telling you. If it's like that's a no. No, thank you. Also, remove it from your profile. So you should not have in your profile that you are a liberal. Now, I'm confident in my intuition, so this isn't a problem for me, and I find it amusing, right? But you should, if you're not super confident or you don't want to waste your time on it, remove it. Remove it, because remember, they're targeting you, okay? You can ask questions if you're on a date and you think you've got some great sort of progressive guy, Kamala this, Kamala that, women's rights, LGBTQ, right? Ask him what he was doing on inauguration night. Sound excited about it, okay? There was a girl on TikTok earlier who had this on a list of things to do. And I love that approach. Ask about the night the election, was announced. Where were you on election night? What did you and your friends do on election night? See if they're way too happy about it. If they let their guard down, if they were somewhere questionable, obviously, okay? You can go to didmyfriendvote.org, didmyfriendvote.org. You could put their information in there and they'll pop up and you'll see. You can go to Trump's Instagram page or any of Trump's social media and see if you have mutual friends, and he comes up in your mutual friends. I would actually recommend this to everyone. Like, everybody's doing this right now. They're getting rid of anyone, okay, who voted for Trump, who follows Trump, okay? So this super left-leaning guy is following Trump on Instagram. You're done. You're done, okay? Immediate block. Pay attention to what he talks about. Is he making any quotes from red pillars or these dumb podcast bros? Okay, these misogynists. Is he posting their crap on like his memes? You know what I mean? Like, does he not? It's not that he doesn't know. It's that he's lying to you. And he thinks he's going to get away with it. Okay, if he uses words like high value woman, a traditional woman, if he's obsessed with his grandma's marriage or the way his grandma stuck around, if he uses words like alpha, beta, he's a loser. He's a Trumper. Yeah, that'll do. All right, let's get into questions or comments. There may be stuff I didn't cover, you guys. I didn't want to like overdo it. I could talk on this for a while longer, but again, like I said, I have you know, I want to sort of minimize tonight because I have been, okay, for years talking about this stuff. Jesse says, I had a man today tell me that people said they were voting Kamala and then voted Trump because they had to hide their intentions because they were scared of being ridiculed by liberals. They didn't even see the irony in the statement. Well, people aren't very smart. You know, they're not. And I would even say that if they say something like that, they're possibly lying. People are saying stupid shit like this because they don't want to say, I'm a racist. I don't love myself. I'm sexist. I'm a fascist. Right? My IQ is 40. They don't want to say those things. So they say stuff like this. I doubt it. But yeah, it makes a lot of sense. They're also probably narcissistic because what do narcs do? They project. The liberals are going to attack me. The liberals are going to attack me. Yeah, okay. The Furies Visa, Watch Me Rise, says transnational railroad system. Yes. Like the Underground Railroad for trans folk. Yes. Okay. So let's talk about how we need to start creating systems to keep our trans and LGBTQ like members safe, like the Underground Railroad. You know, we need to have a system of protection for people, and it's not too early, okay, to start thinking about these things and getting serious about it, where we can, you know, assist them. I have to look more into it in regards to, and please drop in the comments section if you know more about it, but like how, you know, we plan to do that on a larger scale, like less physical and more like online, or, you know, with their rights in general, like what are we talking about with this? You know, maybe I could do a follow-up show on that one, because at some point, probably in the next few weeks, I'm going to need to do a follow-up on where we are again, I'm sure, and I should make that part of it. Okay, so we're talking about all the ways we can protect ourselves and protect one another. All right, but yes, something we need to be careful for. What else do we have here? Christina Cranford said, I naturally stopped dating prior to Roe, and then once that happened, it was a conscious choice. Yeah, I agree. I felt it too. I remember this one guy I was dating, it hadn't happened yet. I remember saying to him, I feel like I'm faking it. And like, we were basically friends anyways, so it was fine to say that. I don't think I broke his heart or anything. I think he knew, you know, but he's like, what do you mean? And I said, I feel like I'm faking it. Like, I think I'm done. I think I'm done dating. I was like, I can't, like, I'm pretending right now. I'm pretending to give a shit. I'm pretending to care, you know, and I never go so far into like, I don't care what some guy's doing with his day. Like this is why I don't have very long relationships. I don't care. I don't care. Okay. Like I barely have enough interest in my own life with things like this. I don't care. And I'm not going to pretend to care. I'm not going to pretend that I'm going to take care of you. Do you, I'll do me, and we come together, I don't know, periodically, you know, that's it. That's all I have to give. That's all I have interest in giving in this life. I will never change with that. I don't care if I'm married. It won't matter. Okay. But like, there was something about it that was different right around the time frame you're mentioning. And it was just like, I was almost just not even physically attracted to them anymore, you know, or sexually, or like things that are always sort of there. I was like, no, something different. And then that was it. That was the final nail in the coffin. I agree with you, Christina. I'm very curious how many other women right at that time, like we intuitively knew it and our bodies were like, meh, 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 done, you know? Full 4B for a decade, says the Furies Visa. A decade. Nice. And, you know, when the younger girls say things like, yeah, but how? Or the older women say things, but like, yeah, but, you know, I can't give up on this. It's been there my whole life, this sort of fantasy of finding this. Here's the thing. We don't have a generation of men born yet who haven't been born under the patriarchy. That means we don't have a generation of men yet to really date. That means that they see us not as people, but as objects. All of them. That's the programming from their birth. Could you sift through it and find a small handful of men who are deconstructing from the patriarchy? Yeah. But is it something you want to commit yourself to deal with in a relationship all the time? I'm deconstructing. He's deconstructing. We're deconstructing together on the relationship. Not me. Okay. I got better shit to do. So I mean, everyone has to judge for themselves, but like, that's a lot of labor. Even when they've done the work and they continue to do the work. I mean, it would have to be like superb circumstances. You know, I think for most women to, if they're being honest, to commit to someone and do that amount of labor. You know, they exist, but yeah, I get it. A decade. Yeah, I don't see myself ever going back. Jill says, Jill, our beautiful producer, can we all say thank you to Jill for showing up tonight and keeping this a safe space for everyone? Because I know, again, she wanted to take tonight off. And in the last moments, she agreed to come and help out. I appreciate you, Jill. That comment section needed to be manned, okay? So I appreciate. Jill says, I started cutting off men years ago, but a few weeks ago, I felt pulled to cut ties with females too. I didn't realize 5B was a thing. Yes. Yes, 5B is a thing. And I talk about it in my 4B, my first 2 years video of how the hardest part for me was cutting off the women in my life because I mostly surround myself with women. But so many of them are dysfunctional, and I get it, Jill. That's sort of heartbreaking. But at the same time, I'm just curious as to whether or not we can talk about this later, I guess, because I don't know who's watching. Your people could be watching. They could be watching you, that's for sure. But, you know, did you also feel like okay with it? Like a sense of peace? Like, I'm glad she's gone. I'm sick of that nonsense anyways. You know, I did. I felt liberated. I was like, I'm not like these girls anyways. You know, it's not a better than thing. It's just I've done more work in that particular area, and that doesn't feel good to me anymore. Also, these chicks will sell you out. They just will. They will do things to be with a man. I posted a video yesterday. You guys can go watch it. It's on my TikTok and everywhere. And it was on how disappointed women were. And I feel for you guys, you know, especially like white women. They thought we would have a bigger turnout on the voting of white women, where we were sadly shown that all these white women, the majority, voted for Trump, right? Even though they showed up to the Zooms and they were white women for Harris and they were, you know what I mean? No, they lied. And I'm not attacking specifically this group, but I will tell you in that video I talked about in the last year, here's the reason why. No one's checking white women. If you ever confront a white woman on something that she did that was wrong, or she owes you an apology or needs to fix something, she'll be like, no one ever said that to me before. Or, you know, it's like a defiance. Okay. So in the last year and in this video, I talk about these women who said things like posting on their social media to ban a certain bar. And at this bar, the owners had attacked some Black men that were there. And these are my personal experiences within 2024. This happened, okay, in this video I talk about. So she posts on social media, don't go to this bar. We're boycotting this bar. We need to shut this bar down. Da, 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 da. They're racist, right? They attack these Black men. This is wrong. This is wrong. And they look like allies. But I'm telling you, the same chick showed up at that bar later that night, taking selfies, shamelessly pouring money, okay, into it. Like, are you evil or is no one home? You know what I mean? I have also seen one of the other examples that I use, and this is how you know women will sell you out. Be careful, okay? I had a friend who was dating a man, just giving it all up to him, who hates LGBTQ, who's talking about attacking his, you know, gay son. Is just disgusting. It's just openly homophobic and a fascist. And she has a gay son who is constantly just, you know, trying to deal with it in society. She claims to love him more than anything. Yet she's given it up to this dude so that she can get a little bit of a little affection, right? A feeling like she's being chosen. That's gross. That's gross. There was another example that I used in there and I forget what it was, but it was basically like, I don't remember. Anyways, go back and watch the video. But yeah, you realize with these women, and what I'm saying is that, like, you know, the reason you may have a sense of peace when you cut them off and you thought you were going to be traumatized by having to do it is because they were never really for you. And even if the opportunity hasn't arose yet, you know intuitively that one day it will, where if it's between you and some male, any male, they will choose that male. They will waste your time. They will sell you out. Okay, they will choose him because they're desperate for that attention. They have not deconstructed from the patriarchy. We can't keep feeding them 5B, 5B, 5B. Okay, it's the next most important thing for us. Yeah, Jill said, I have never felt more at peace. Amen to that. Me too. Good riddance, you know. And some of them all admit this. I have still some of these friends around, but I demoted them. You just have to know where people go. Live in the gray. It's not always black and white, but like, never promote them. Never expect anything out of them. Always expect that they will sell you out at some point. You know what I mean? You could talk, but keep it real. Tristan Marion says, best advertisement for 4B, in my opinion, the movie Promising Young Woman. Okay, very cool. Promising Young Woman. I'm going to have to look into it. Thank you, Tristan. Any other questions or comments coming in? Bethany Renner says, this has been a wonderful talk. Thank you. As soon as the dust settled yesterday, I wondered what you had to say and dashed to your channel. So I'm appreciating this. Well, while I was perched up like an owl, as I do with elections, and I thought 3 days after we were still going to be receiving information about it. So I'm still wondering if some of that's going to be coming through. But yeah, while I was up, I was already pumping out the videos. So if you guys want to see my series of videos on the election itself, I had a feather pillow that I was like sitting with, you know, with my coffee. And so they all have a feather pillow on them. Thank you, Bethany. That's funny. Yeah, a lot of people were like, you know, where's your head on this? And it's not really anywhere other than what I've been talking about for the last, you know, 15 years publicly about, but it's getting stronger and we are about to level up into a new phase of it. And so, yeah, I'm very curious too, to see. And what I mean by that is that we all have free will. Okay. Some things are destiny charted, meaning it's a 100% guarantee this thing will happen and it is fixed. It cannot be manipulated, but we also have free will future. And that means that regardless of what happens, it's how we react, okay, that can change things going forward. So we'll see what everyone's doing with their free will. Right now, I'm not super proud of everyone, that's for sure, but I'm not surprised. Sam Jane says, now I know where I stand with a lot of people. Exactly. You know what? I think we needed some proof because let's just use the male disappointment example, okay? All of this talk of not all men. You sure about that? Let's look at that math. Okay, because the numbers don't lie. So now we have actual figures. It was amazing. I mean, because there's no other way. No one would have, no researchers, you know, could have pulled this level of proof from anywhere else. It just fell like a gift right into our lap. And women are like, ew. Okay, permanent ick. Done. 4B. Yep. And you know where you stand with a lot of people, you know, Sam is saying, because, you know, they, even just the way they celebrate now, or they're celebrating the next day, or, you know, I post something about it knowing that, you know, my Latino community is going to suffer horrifically, knowing that women are going to suffer, LGBT, all these groups that are going to suffer. America, you know, potentially the end of democracy, because like he said, he's not leaving office. So this was the last election in that sense, right? Like of America ever. You know, when you see people who are laughing at work and celebrating and having a great day the last couple days, you really do see who's not for you. It's very, very clear because your suffering means nothing to them. Okay. A lot of them are rubbing it in your face, you know, and it's sad when that's family and friends, acquaintances and whatnot. It's sad. We have any other questions or comments? Or are we at time? Oh, we are at time. Okay, very good. Well, thanks so much for being here with me, guys. I feel better. I think I needed to vent too. And I feel like I got a little bit of that out. All right, so there's more in there, but I got a little bit of it out. So I will see you guys for the next round. Probably in a couple weeks. I want to wait for a few things to play out, and I want to see, also if my predictions are right about a couple things that are about to happen. But we'll be back. We'll be doing more of this, and I may have to bring back some more late night circus if you are interested in what's going on in the media and current trends and international news. I was doing a show that I stopped a few weeks ago called Late Night Circus. And I would talk about all those things from a spiritual aspect, energetic, astrological, and what those things mean. Okay, so the Project 2025 video that I keep recommending you guys go back and watch, where I broke down Project 2025, 990 pages. That was a late night circus vid. That was the last one I did, and I think it's about time to bring it back. All right, so maybe late night circus isn't laid to rest. It was ruining my algorithm, but I think I'm going to resuscitate it. Okay, so you guys just keep supporting my channel. It's the best thing you can do as we go forward. If you like my content, please like, subscribe. Okay, I need the support, and especially here on YouTube at Ask Ivy. I will see you guys for church. Roots Revival Interfaith. Again, if you want to get married, I have the reverends ready to go. I started prepping them in the last year. Also, if you want to become a reverend, you want to marry interracial marriages, LGBTQ, get their numbers up. Get these marriages locked in as much as we can. Become a reverend here at Roots Revival. Our next service is going to be on the 17th, I believe. Yes. And it's called Apocalyptic Dreams and Your Intuition. So for all those people, I've been speaking on this for 6 years. If you have a lot of apocalyptic dreams, you have a lot of prophecy, but you thought they were nightmares, and now you see it happening with floods and fires and hurricanes and warlike conditions. Now you know you're a seer, okay? You're psychic, and you're having prophecy. And we're going to break down why that's been increasing the last 6 years. Okay. So tune in for that, 9 p.m. Eastern, all these platforms. You're welcome, you guys. Thanks so much. Thank you, Jill. Have a good night.